Title: The Hidden Empire of Shahid. Chapter 1: The Quiet Man of Sadr Bazaar. In the bustling, modest streets of Sadr Bazaar, a middle-class locality in Hyderabad, lived a man named Shahid. To the residents of the area, Shahid was just another regular person, no different from the shopkeepers, teachers, or workers around him. He lived in a modest two-bedroom home, drove a basic car, and wore plain clothes that blended in with the crowd. He was often seen walking to work, carrying a simple briefcase, greeting his neighbors with a friendly smile, and buying groceries at the local market. But no one knew that Shahid's life was far from ordinary. Shahid was, in fact, one of the wealthiest and most powerful men in the world. He came from a royal family with vast business empires spanning across continents, specializing in luxury cars, aerospace technology, electronics, and even shipbuilding. His family's industries were giants in the global market, and their name was synonymous with innovation, wealth, and influence. Shahid Industries was a conglomerate of companies that ruled the industrial world. However, Shahid had made a deliberate choice to keep his royal identity a secret, living among the common people in Sadr Bazaar. He kept his background hidden from his neighbors, employees, and even his closest friends. His life was a carefully constructed facade, one that he carefully maintained to avoid the complications that came with his family's legacy. Chapter 2: The Humble Beginning. Born into the Shahid royal family, Shahid's life was destined for greatness. As a child, he lived in a luxurious palace surrounded by servants, expensive cars, and rare treasures from around the world. But as he grew older, he began to notice something that troubled him. Despite the wealth, power, and status, his family was often isolated from the real world. Their business decisions were made in boardrooms and palatial offices, far removed from the everyday struggles and dreams of regular people. His father, the head of the Shahid Industries Group, expected Shahid to follow in his footsteps, taking on the family business and continuing the legacy of their immense fortune. But Shahid was not interested in living a life of privilege and entitlement. He wanted to understand the world from the ground up. He wanted to know what it meant to truly build something, to fight for success, and to connect with people on a personal level. At the age of 25, after finishing his education abroad, Shahid made a decision that shocked his family. He left the royal palace in Hyderabad and moved to Sadr Bazaar, a bustling middle-class neighborhood. He took on a simple job at a small manufacturing company, hiding his true identity and living an ordinary life. No one knew that the young man working alongside him in the factory was, in fact, the heir to an empire. Shahid lived modestly, working hard every day. He learned everything from the ground up: how to negotiate deals, how to manage employees, and how to make tough business decisions. He was a perfectionist, constantly analyzing the way things worked and looking for ways to improve. His dedication paid off, and the company he worked for soon began to grow under his leadership. But no one suspected that Shahid was anything other than a simple businessman. Among Shahid's employees was a young, ambitious man named Ravi. Ravi came from a struggling family, but he had a brilliant mind and a passion for engineering. He joined the company as an intern and quickly rose through the ranks due to his hard work and innovative ideas. Ravi admired Shahid deeply, not only for his intellect, but also for his humble and grounded nature. Shahid never flaunted his wealth or position, always treating Ravi and the other employees with respect. Over time, Ravi began to notice something strange. Shahid's decisions were always incredibly sound and ahead of their time. He had an uncanny ability to predict trends in the market, and his business strategies were always successful. His vast network of contacts, the way he spoke in meetings, and his understanding of the global market suggested that Shahid was much more than a simple businessman. Ravi couldn't shake the feeling that there was something extraordinary about Shahid. Over time, one day, while going through some archive files in the company's records, Ravi stumbled upon an old document, a family business ledger detailing the history of Shahid Industries. The name Shahid was mentioned repeatedly, but it wasn't just the name of an ordinary businessman. It was tied to a vast network of luxury car dealerships, aerospace firms, and international manufacturing plants. Ravi's heart raced as he connected the dots. Shahid's background was nothing short of legendary. He was the heir to one of the largest industrial empires in the world, a family whose name was revered and feared in equal measure. But Shahid had been living in disguise, keeping his identity hidden from the world. Robbie's heart raced. The discovery rocked Robbie's world. He couldn't believe what he had found. Shahid, the man who had worked alongside him every day, the man who lived in a modest house in Sadr Bazaar, was the very same person who controlled industries across the globe. Robbie was torn. He respected Shahid immensely and had learned so much from him. But now he faced a dilemma. Should he confront Shahid about his secret? Should he expose his true identity to the rest of the world? It didn't take long for Robbie to make up his mind. He decided that Shahid deserved to have his story told, but only on his own terms. The next morning, Robbie called Shahid into his office. Shahid arrived with his usual calm demeanor, but there was a look of curiosity in his eyes. "Shahid, I need to talk to you about something," Robbie said, his voice trembling. Shahid raised an eyebrow, but sat down calmly. "Go ahead, Robbie. What's on your mind?" "I know your secret," Robbie blurted out. Shahid didn't flinch. He'd known this day might come, but he wasn't worried. He simply leaned back in his chair, his expression unreadable. "I knew you would eventually discover it," Shahid said with a faint smile. "But I'm glad it's you." Robbie was taken aback. "You knew? But why? Why live like this? Why hide your true identity?" Shahid sighed, looking out of the window for a moment before turning back to Robbie. "Because, Robbie, the world doesn't need another man born in privilege. The world needs people who earn their place, who understand the struggle of others. I didn't want to be known as the heir to a vast empire. I wanted to see if I could build something of my own from the ground up without anyone knowing who I really am. I wanted to understand the business world, not just from a royal throne, but as someone who has